Dead Rising may be one of the last games you might think about when it comes to speedrunning due to the game's style, essentially being one long auto-scroller. As a result, the earliest runners in the community of Dead Rising would run the bonus overtime mode. You would unlock this upon beating the 72-hour mode since it wasn't on rails and made for a fun challenge. Most runners opted for New Game Plus given the barrier of entry for the category being much easier than New Game. This category was originally deemed to be incredibly difficult not only due to the skill required during the run, but the intense RNG gating that would kill even the best performed runs. This video will explain how speedrunners managed to overcome the RNG and set 4 separate world records in this category in one night. Traditionally, Overtime New Game Plus speedruns were one of the game's shorter categories, with the previous world record held by the runner Dawn of Solace standing at 11 minutes and 59 seconds for over 40 years, a run considered to be unbeatable by many. This run was achieved in October of 2017 and has managed to keep its spot at the top of the leaderboard since, despite the active competition gunning for it. Overtime as a category requires you to do the following. You have to gather the supplies around the mall, including the first aid kit, the magnifying glass, the cold spray, the blender, a developing solution, some coffee filters, a camp stove, a perfume bottle, and the generator. These supplies are in static locations and require you to traverse the mall avoiding the military. Next, you would need to gather 10 queens. This step is the major gate of the run, since queens as an item are primarily RNG in that they spawn entirely on random zombies in the game. After finding all 10, you would then hand them off to Isabella and continue the run. After, you'd be going through the cave. This step is wildly simple since it's just an escort quest moving Isabella to the end while avoiding the cave's zombie and military. Lastly would be the final bosses. First being a tank fight, which just requires the runner to shoot the sensors on the tank until its health depletes, and the Brock fight, which is beaten by using a quick kill combination of kicks. Dawn of Solace's 1159 has managed to stand for years because it had not only featured excellent execution of gameplay, but also godlike RNG on the queen spawns. All of this would change on November 2nd, 2021, when a new strategy was finally implemented. The obvious issue with getting a solid overtime speedrun is absolutely the 10 queen requirement. Regardless of runner strategy, it would 100% come down to luck if 10 of these queen zombies are able to spawn fast enough to achieve a competitive time. Around the same time as Dawn of Solace's 1159, it was found from the Dead Rising fan Discord that there was a glitch where you can swap a separate item instead of the queen, and this would then hand the item over to Isabella while keeping the queen in your inventory. The utility of this glitch was uncertain because it was immensely difficult to execute since it required you to swap the items within a single frame, with those actions being you would swap away from the queen, wait a single frame, and then give the duped item to Isabella. As it stands, the glitch was absolutely frame dependent and virtually undone, totaling to a known 3 successes, 1 from the initial finding, and 2 from a runner known as SweedOLA. The last 2 successes were a result of labbing the strat to see if it could be made consistent. At the time, this was done by runners Pokesol and SweedOLA in late 2020, and they were able to find the proper setup to execute the glitch. However, it was by no means consistent. Overall, while we could potentially hand Isabella and other survivors duped items, there was no certainty to how usable this glitch could be, or if it was usable, how consistent the glitch could be. While queen duping was a far dream for overtime speedrunners, it was known in the back of all of our minds that it could be achieved and utilized to remove one of the more tedious sections of the run. You never hit it? Alright, well, let's see something. Maybe I can dupe the pipe. Whoa, what the fuck?! On November 2nd, 2021, a runner named Igdisis, that's me, managed to accidentally achieve the queen duping glitch while running the less popular overtime low percent category, which is mostly the same in terms of requirements. After giving Isabella the pipe, I managed to complete the queen requirement, giving Isabella 9 queens and 1 pipe, proving that queen duping would count the duped items as actual queens, allowing runners to beat the level and move on to the end. This find was game-changing since it eliminated one of the two major barriers of using this glitch, which was the question if it was actually usable. However, we still needed to consistently do it to make it worth it. At the same time, throughout the past year, it was also discovered that FPS toggling through the game's menu massively affects the game's properties. This encompasses all of the game's elements, including zombie hordes, item usages, bike mechanics, and much more. Originally, this was primarily used to perform a skip in other categories called bike zip, lower the difficulty of elevator entries, and manipulate the convicts during their boss fight. The queen duping performed by myself was done on variable FPS and has a rather high frame rate. Runners would either use this setting or 60 FPS traditionally since it was required for the above uses. That same night, Pokasol was able to find a consistent method of queen duping using both his past work and knowledge of FPS differences. This is achieved by swapping from the standard of 60 and going over to 30 FPS for the execution. In total, it was the combination of these two findings that finally made the holy grail of overtime New Game Plus speedruns discovered. In a single night, what was considered near impossible for years was now possible. But what did this mean for runners? As with any major speedrun finding, runners rushed to try the new findings in what was once considered the speedrun equivalent of pulling teeth. Within about 7 hours of the first successful use of the glitch, a runner by the name of Cronius was able to beat Dawn of Solace's long-standing record with a time of 11 minutes and 48 seconds, immediately showing the payoff of queen duping. Not even 2 minutes later, SweedOLA would achieve a time of 11 minutes and 26 seconds using the new strats. This time would then stand for 1 hour, as Cronius would fire back with a time of 11 minutes and 10 seconds. As the day progressed, SweedOLA would once again beat the record with a time of 11 minutes and 2 seconds. As well, a runner known as Sens1123 would then post a time of 11 minutes and 9 seconds, not quite beating SweedOLA's time, but being within seconds of it. Within the span of a single night, Dead Rising managed to go from an unbreakable record that couldn't be budged to being beaten 5 times in the span of a few hours, all thanks to the holy grail of Dead Rising speedrunning. As of the writing of this video, the current world record is SweedOLA's 11 minutes and 2 seconds, and that will likely be beaten soon as more and more runners continue to explore the potential time saves they hold with the usage of queen duping. Dead Rising speedrunning has forever changed with this moment and has now opened the doors for newer potential runners to enter the fray. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't thank the Dead Rising community enough for all the findings in not only this category, but as a general speedrun. If you're interested in joining the community or checking out any of the runners mentioned in this video, you can find a bunch of helpful links below. Thank you for watching, and consider subscribing if you'd like to enjoy more content such as this.